Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, as you all know, we have completed module 4 in the previous class. So let's have a small recap, then we'll move to module 5. So supply chain management, supply chain network optimization model was the module 4. Okay, so moving to the syllabus, we'll not go there because we have already seen that. Okay, so the impact of uncertainty on the network design. So what is uncertainty? So I have found out like what is not that we know exactly or certainly that it will happen. So for that we call it as uncertainty. Okay, so in this basically we are looking at the network. Okay, in the network what will happen if there is certain uncertainty. Okay, or a particular thing that is uh, crucial, small thing that is crucial, but you don't know exactly whether it will happen or not. Okay, something like we had taken an example, okay, of the demand as well as the prices of particular land for warehouse. Okay, so these were two things where only two things can happen, and very rarely the third thing also is there, that is it will increase or decrease or it can stay as it is. In the sense the same thing happens in the next particular year also. So usually the things that happen are taken into consideration with terms of year, basically in a normal sense. But if you want to have a shorter term goals, so it could be a week, a month, okay, a quarter. Usually those who know how a particular company works and all, so company has to take care of the finances or any other related terms every quarterly in the sense it is 3 months. So those who are familiar about stock market and all, so they will be knowing about this what do you call, every 3 months a particular statement is given to the shareholders or the public, stating that what we have done, okay, how much is the profits, how much is the losses, what are the operating costs, and these are the basic major things, and many things will be there in that. Okay, like what was the carry forward from the previous year, it could be from the previous year or the previous quarter also. So based on that, so year, a whole year is divided into 4 quarters. So it could be quarterly, it could be yearly, or it could be half yearly also. Okay, so this is uncertain in the sense we don't know exactly what will happen. So for example, sales, this month we have done a certain number of sales, like for example we have sold some 500 quantity of whatever the product I am making. Okay, it's being sold of 500 quantity. So will the same thing happen in the next month? Okay, so based on the previous data I can forecast. Okay, there could be particular forecasting could be done, stating that okay, in the past so many months I have done this particular number of sales. Okay, so taking that into consideration we can predict what will happen further. Okay, so this is what is called as prediction. So the name itself says I am predicting. So I am telling the future, this may happen. So when the term may comes, it is uncertain. Okay, so this may happen, I cannot tell this will happen because I don't know what is happening, what is going to happen. Okay, the future is uncertain, that's what they say. We know what has happened in the past, we know what is happening in the future, sorry, not future, present, we know what is happening in the present now. Then we are not able to predict, or exactly we can predict but not exactly, the accuracy could be less. Okay, so instead of telling accuracy I could put it in terms of what you call probability. So the probability of you predicting the future exactly is very less. Okay, so why I am putting probabilities, there are chances of this becoming true also based on the calculations you have done, the methods that you have used. There are various methods of predicting the numbers for future based on the previous numbers. Okay, so that's how we are doing it, but there is a element of uncertainty, we surely don't know what is going to happen. Like the best example is the present thing, what is going on with us. Okay, that is the pandemic. So nobody has thought that okay, it originated somewhere, like we were knowing it a few months earlier only. Okay, it is like okay, it is in some different country, it has spread to some other country. nothing is there in India. So slowly first case was detected, then they started probing, then more and more cases started coming in, and the first lockdown happened, and it go went on like getting bigger and bigger. So there it was around 3 to 4 months of lockdown which happened in the first lockdown. So after that we thought like okay, the numbers will be coming down. Okay, the prediction was okay, as we have seen the numbers were coming down and there would not be a second wave. So based on the numbers as they were coming down, we did not predict. Slowly again it started rising. So based on the rise, it was more than the first wave. Okay, the second wave was more dangerous than the first wave. So we all are seeing it, and there was a second lockdown. Okay, so again it was increased, okay, multiple number of times. So almost it has come to around more than 2 weeks now. Okay, it is more than 2 weeks as of now. So we never know what is going to happen, because even as students, okay, you don't know what is going to happen. So when are the exams going to be? Okay, what all could be done online, we are doing it, like the classes we are taking online, like the exams we are taking online. But the VTU exams, that is the final exams, semester exams, we don't know what will happen. So, or when it will happen, it will happen for sure. Okay, but we are not sure or not certain when it will happen. Okay, the date or the month, it could be next month, it could be 2 months after, or it could be 3 months after, we never know. And there are people who are predicting okay, there will be a third wave, and also again without our notice the government is again like ramping up all the things what they are like supposed to do basically, which they were lacking behind in second wave. So there is the new news that is there. So in India the second wave was responsible by the Delta variant. Okay, it was called as the Delta variant. Now there are further more what you call mutations to that particular virus, and the new one has come now. So that is Delta plus. In many countries, this particular Delta plus virus is there as of now. So in India also there are some cases. Okay, so we don't know what happens next. So if this particular Delta plus variant, uh, as and when mutation happens, it is on all the sides. Okay, some variants become weaker and weaker, they die off, and there are few, like in millions, one or two mutations where which are very much powerful than the predecessors. So like that we have found out now, that is the Delta plus variant. So I don't know what will happen. So everything is uncertain. So is government able to tackle this particular problem, or we will be ending up in the third lockdown or something, or the third wave instead of lockdown leave it. So that is the next thing. So now will we move to the third phase, or how it is, we don't know. Okay, new and new vaccines are coming. So that is a ray of hope, where many people are getting vaccines and are looking into like for foreseeing the herd immunity. Okay, so that is the uncertainty. So similarly the same things happen in our supply chain also. Okay, the whole network will be affected if one thing has a small uncertainty and you are not taking that into consideration. There could be huge losses. Okay, or there could be huge disruptions when we are taking the whole supply chain, okay, in general. So because of only one link, it could be the distortion in the whole link. So we'll look at it in the fifth module. Okay, so this is the impact of uncertainty. Then discounted cash flow. So what is this? First you need to know what is cash flow. I had explained you. So whatever comes in and whatever goes out from a particular company in a certain period of time. Okay, so this particular time could be anything. Again, it could be a day, a week, an hour also. Okay, or it could be a particular month, then a quarter, or half yearly or yearly again. So cash flows, how much has come in and how much has gone out. So here why we are talking about this is we are discounting it in the sense. So as you know, cash flows today, whatever has come in, whatever is gone out. So similarly I can predict, again predictions could be done in the future. If so much of amount is coming in the future, if I get it today, so what will be the discounting? Okay, so why this term discounting has come is, so if you have certain money, if you just keep it with you, it will not grow. Okay, but if you invest it somewhere, so if it is growing by even just a 0.1%, so there is some growth. Okay, so this particular growth we are basically comparing it with the normal market, that is the bond market. Okay, so how much is the present bond market or the fixed deposits also you can call. So fixed deposits as of now it is 5%, 5% or 5.5% at some cases. So if you are having certain amount, if you are keeping it in FD, that is fixed deposits, so you are getting around 5 to 5.5% per year, okay, of additional amount as interest credited for you depositing your money in fixed deposits. Okay, so example, take 100 rupees you have kept in the bank in FD. So after an year, take 5%. So it becomes 105 rupees. 105 rupees at the end of 1 year. So instead of 105 later, if I get it now, so what will be the discounting that I need to do? Okay, so how to bring it to the present cash flow? So that is what is discounting. So if somebody gives me today, so I need to deduct that particular 5% or even more for that particular matter because I'm getting it today only. Okay, so many such things will be encountering. Okay, you will be encountering where many plans have come by banks and other people, like stating that okay, there is a plan, sir, like you need to pay the amount or the premium for 10 years. So take 1 lakh rupees per year. So you need to pay for 10 years. So it is the amount is going to be around 10 lakhs. Okay, 10 years, 1 lakh you are paying. It is 10 lakhs. So again, 11th year or the 12th year, there will be nothing, sir. From 13th year, you will start getting around 70,000 rupees, sir, for rest of your life. Okay, they'll tell you like this. So this is one of the plan which I encountered. So you should be able to tell whether it is beneficial for me, at what rate it is increasing. Okay, every year. So if they say like till you die, will give you 70,000. Okay, after 13 years from now, you are paying 1 lakh each year for next 10 years. So how to calculate this? Okay, so there are so many formulas, don't go into it, but this is a real life example where I'm giving you. So your parents might have got, or sometimes even you might have got a call stating that okay, there is a particular investment plan from our bank. So most of the banks are having this particular scheme now. Okay, you need to pay certain amount for 5 years or 10 years, then 1 year or 2 year there will be nothing, you should also not pay, they will also not pay. So after that particular 1 or 2 years, so there's a fixed amount of money that will be credited to you every year. Okay, so it is every year and not every month. So if you are paying 1 lakh now, after 13 years they are giving you 70,000. Okay, something like this, which is going on for perpetuity, in the sense till you die. So that is what this is. So, sir, just imagine how many years you will be. So I think you are around 25 or 30. So just imagine after 13 years, you will be around 40, 45. So you will be getting amount till you die. So you never know when you are dying. You may die in around 1 year only, or you may die after 15 years or 20 years or 30 years or 50 years. We never know, right? So even that particular thing is uncertain. But if you calculate, like take example, so presently you're 30 years old, or I am 30 years old, for example. Okay, from now 13 years, so I will be around 43. So from 43 till take example of 80, so I'll be alive till 80 years of age. Okay, how much it is? It is around 37 years more. So 37 into 70. Okay, so 37 into 70 we need to do. So that many that much of amount will be credited to me over the period of that particular 43rd year till the my age becomes 80. So whether that particular 10 lakhs, if you had kept it somewhere or if you had invested somewhere else, what would be the amount, okay, that you had got at the end of 70 years? You could have checked, okay, whether that is more or this particular plan is more. So we need to check like that. So this is what is the cash flows we are telling, the future value and the present value of future cash flows. So there is something like okay, future values of present cash flows. If I had to give you okay some amount later, okay, later stages, like uh, in our sense as customers, we saw this particular example. So if you see it from the other end, that is the bank's perspective. So I'm getting money now, okay, but I need to pay so much amount every year after this particular number of years. So there will be an accumulation of interest because you are paying 1 lakh. Okay, so the first year that you have paid 1 lakh, it would have completed 13 years. Okay, the second lakh what you have paid for the second year, it would have completed 12 years. Okay, the third lakh, it would have completed 11 years. So similarly, so many of years it would be completing. The last installment that you give on the 10th year, the 10th lakh that you are giving, it only undergoes around 3 years. If I'm taking like 2 years of waiting period is there, so it takes only 2 years. Okay, last one. So just imagine, so you're keeping so much of amount. If you had kept it in FDs, what would be the rate of interest and how much you would have got at the end of that particular term? So like this, you need to calculate and say, you could have thought like, okay, just 1 lakh is there, or there are other variations also. Like you could have given only 10,000 rupees per month, and for 10 years you could give only 10,000, and after the 13th year they would be giving you 7,000 per month for rest of your life. So this, when I took example of 1 lakh, you could have felt it is big. But if I take 10,000, you would have like, okay, I could afford 10,000 now. I could give this, right? So whether it is 7,000 is worth that much after 13 years. So it could be like a pocket money later on to your kids or something, someone. Okay, after 13 years, 7,000 rupees, you might not get anything substantial. Okay, now 7,000, yes, something substantial will be getting, but after 13 years we don't know what is the value of rupee, okay, at that particular time, and what would uh, give you 7,000 rupees. Okay, what you would get or what you can buy in 7,000 rupees after 13 years or 15 years or 20 years, because 7,000 will be constant. Okay, they'll not add anything else or anything more than 7,000. So they'll give you 7,000. The value of money goes on decreasing every year because of inflation. So you need to take all these things into consideration. So if you just leave something like inflation, they'll tell you, sir, 8% is there, sir. By 8%, we're giving you 70,000 rupees, sir. You can just check it. So, okay, 8%, what is the inflation? If it is 5% of inflation or 5.5% of inflation is there, the government says 5.5% is the inflation. So the next year, so today, if it is 100 rupees, there is there with you. If you are not investing anywhere, in the next year, if the inflation is 5%, so the value of that 100 rupees is 95 now. What does that mean is, if I am getting something at 100 rupees today, okay, so next year I will not get it at 100 rupees. I'll get it at 105 rupees. Okay, the value went down. So I had to pay that extra 5 rupees to get the same thing. Okay, the same thing is there with any of the products. So you are buying any of the product, just go and check whatever it is. So today is a different rate, next year it is different rate. Okay, so the value of the money, okay, or the value of the currency goes on decreasing year on year because of inflation. Okay, the value goes down. So this is what we need to take into consideration, that future cash flows, how we can basically bring it back today. If everything is done today, how much I had to pay to get that much in that particular year. Okay, so that is what is discounting of cash flows. Okay, first we saw what is cash flows, then discounting of cash flows. Then the discounting factor we saw 1 upon 1 plus k, where k is the excuse me, where k is the percentage. So if it is here in the example which you had taken was, it was 0.1. Okay, so it became 1 upon 1 plus uh, zero point 0.1, which is 1 upon 1.1. Okay, so this is the discounting factor. So if you see 1 upon, so the numerator is small and the denominator is becoming bigger than the numerator, so it comes in points. Okay, so somewhere in points. So when you multiply a particular number with something like 0.8 or 0.7, the value decreases. So that is what is called as discounting. So a particular value comes, so depending upon how many years we are taking it. Okay, so per year, so we are taken 3 years, so each year we are discounting, so it becomes 1 upon 1.1. So this particular value should be multiplied to that particular number which you had got. So it will give me the cash flows for the previous year. That means if, for example, next year I'll be having this much of cash flows, inflows or outflows. Okay, based on that, if I am bringing it today, I have to multiply it with this particular discount factor 1 upon 1 plus k. If I multiply that, so today if somebody gives me that much, the value would be in future. If I invest it somewhere with that particular rate of interest, it would be so much in the next year. So that is what this particular thing means. Okay, then net present value. Net present value in the sense, if you go on for multiple years like this, okay, so c naught is the current cash with you. Okay, current cost you can say, or current cash with you, plus summation t is equal to 1, that is time here, to r could be anything, it could be 5, 10, how many years you are taking, okay, into 1 upon 1 plus k. So this is the discounting factor, and it has to be raised to the number of years that you are taking. So at the present year, like for example 2 years from now you are taking, so this will be 2. So 3 years from now you are taking, it will be 3. Okay, so that t is that, and the last cash flow, that is c into t, or the cash at tth year. So that should be multiplied, then it should be added with the present cash flows or present cash. That will give you the net present value, the present value, the term present value for future money. So this is the formula. Okay, so there are so many steps in between, I have skipped it because it will be like confusing for you guys most of the time. So that's why I give you the direct value at the end. So if you use this particular formula, we are getting the future cash flows in present money, net present value. So similarly, if you want to know the value of uh, present money in future, so there is NFV, that is net future value. So future value also could be predicted. Okay, so there is a different formula for it. So where we are taking into consideration a particular rate of interest. So here we are taking a discounting factor, certain discounting factor. There we are taking certain what do you call interest factor, okay, rate of interest. So similarly, so if you have calculated something, you might have heard, okay, the premium calculator or the mutual fund calculator, something like that you might have heard. So these are the formulas which it will use and give you the value in just a second or so. So everything happens in backend like your Excel. So if you are having any formula put in that Excel, if you have to just enter the values, like it will ask you, like for example, if you are doing systematic investment plan, that is every month you're putting certain amount, so it will ask you what amount you're going to put for how many years. Okay, what would be the rate of interest you want now, okay, or you're expecting, or present, what is the rate of interest that is going on. So that if you put, it will tell you like for so many years you are investing this much of money, with this rate of interest you are getting this much amount. So this is what is the calculator what you are getting online. Okay, so if you go to policybazar.com or somewhere, the there are some calculators which will tell you by calculating, by taking into account all these things. So you want to know what is the premium I need to have, so it will ask you what is the sum assured, how much are you want to be assured of, like 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 2 crores, 5 crores, 1 crore, whatever. You need to put that, and for how many years you want, and what is your age, and do you have any other illnesses also. So if you put all these things, so it varies. Okay, not all these things are required, like the health and all. If you want to take, so they'll ask you at that particular time, do you have any illnesses? Do you have like do you smoke, or do you drink, or do you do any other things like having gutta or something? So based on that, there's a calculation, okay, on your life. So it will calculate accordingly, and it will give you a particular value, so that we could say it as net present value in this particular case. Okay, next, binomial representation. So that is, there are two things which may happen generally. So today, if my sales is x, it might be x plus y, or it might be x minus y in the next particular year or the next time period. Okay, so that's why in this case they are saying u greater than 1, and with probability p, and d less than 1. It is with probability 1 minus p. So the probability you should know, maximum will be 1, and if you have certain probability and of happening, then the probability of not happening could be 1 minus p. Okay, so that will give you the probability, the other side of the probability of not happening. So taking this into consideration, we had got the multiplicative binomial tree. So in the first year it was p. Okay, take this as the profits. So this is p. You saw u is increasing. So u, if you see here, u is greater than 1. So if u is greater than 1, it will increase. Then d is less than 1, it will decrease. So certainly if you go on for multiple years, okay, so here if you go on in the top position only, so what happens? P, pu square, pu cube, pu raised to 4, pu raised to 5, because we are multiplying that u every time. But this may not be the case. Okay, so if you decrease it by d, so it will go on decreasing, p, pd, pd square, pd cube, pd raised to 4, and pd raised to 5, and so on. Okay, but this will not be the market exactly. It will not increase or it will not decrease always. So sometimes it will increase, sometimes it will decrease. So similarly, say the first year it increased, then it decreased, then increased, then decreased. So I'll reach pu cube d square. Okay, so happening of this, what is the probability? Is it is given on the right hand side. So what is the probability here? So the probability maximum is for these two things, that is pu cube d square or pu square d cube. Okay, why? Because however, combination, if you take, the probability increases here. That is why the biggest line you are getting here at the probability. So the smallest probability would be the things that are at the farthest end from the middle. That is, it could be on top. That is pu raised to 5 or pd raised to 5. So in both the cases, the chances of happening is very, very less. Okay. And the chances increases for pu d raised to 4 and pu raised to 4d. Okay. And the maximum probability is for pu cube d square and pu square d cube. This is the multiplicative binomial tree. So something like this, we are having additional tree. Okay. This is all the values for multiplication. Then we are having addition ones. So we are adding u if it is increasing, we are subtracting d if it is decreasing. So here we are not multiplying. Similarly, we'll be getting a tree like this. Okay, so where instead of u pu, I'll be getting p plus u, p minus d. Then it will be p plus 2u, then p plus 3u, p plus 4u, and p plus 5u. So instead of raised to, it will be plus 5u. So similarly, if you see here, it will be p plus 4u minus d. In this case, p plus 3u minus 2d. So something like this it will go on for addition. So we have taken an example using decision tree. So how decision tree will help us? Okay, I'll not go much into it. Okay, so these things we have seen in detail. We have taken around 4 hours just for one example. Okay, so taking all this into consideration, so if you see, this was the decision tree that happened. We had only two periods, period 0, period 1, and period 2. So there were two variables, one is demand and the other is price. Okay, and the probability was equally distributed. So for each node we were getting four different nodes. So similarly in the first period, so for each node in one period, again four would be there and they would overlap. So we are getting 9 nodes in the period 2 with different probabilities and different prices and demand. So we need to convert these into profits, then bring it back to period 1, then calculate profits for period 1 and plus the converted value of period 2. Then again going here, calculate the value for, I mean profits for period 1 plus addition of the period 1 plus the brought back value of period 1 to period 0. So all these things by doing, when we have taking this into calculations, we have seen all this. So we are getting this for node 1. Okay, for, sorry, for node 2 we are getting this, then node 1, then similarly for all other periods, period 2, period 1. So for lease we are getting so much. Okay, so we'll directly go to the last one. So here if you see, three things were there. One, take everything at spot price for just 3 years, we are getting profits of 5471. So we are taking lease of 1 lakh square feet for 3 years now only at one particular price. So my profit increases many folds. So it becomes 38,364. So if it is a flexible lease for a total of 1 lakh square feet, but I am not paying the value for 1 lakh square feet. I am paying for maximum of 60, sorry, not maximum, minimum of 60,000 square feet, and it could go up to 1 lakh square feet for that particular amount only. If I am going more than 1 lakh square feet, I am taking the extra space for the spot price. So if I do that, see the value here. So here 46,000. So this is 56 actually, but there was a clause stating that I need to pay 10,000 extra for this particular flexible lease. So even after removing that, I am having 46,000, which is greater than the other two options. Okay, so this could be the best one. Okay, so your decision tree will help you even if it is increasing, decreasing, or whatever happens, how much of profits you could be making if you take different options. Okay, see where is 5,000 and where is 46,000. So it is many folds than this particular value, and it is 8,361 more than the previous option. Okay, this we saw. Then we saw like why multi-level inventory, okay, or multi-place inventory is required. So we saw this like multi-level or multi-places in the sense we are having inventory at multiple places. Okay, why it is required or why it is not required? What is the advantages and disadvantages we saw? Okay, sync with manufacturing. If you are having multiple production houses, so you need to have inventory very near to those. Otherwise, your transportation cost will increase. Then outsource manufacturing. So if you are sending it somewhere to for manufacturing, it will be very easy, it would be very near. Then lean manufacturing, as and when you want, you are getting the products, okay, or the raw materials, then you are finishing your products and you are sending. So this is lean manufacturing. Then risk management. So if something happens, okay, to your warehouse, so all your things are there in only one warehouse. So if something happens there, you are in huge loss. But if it is distributed in multiple warehouses, if something happens like fire hazard or something, or water clogging, you might not lose that much like if you had everything in one warehouse, right? So you are mitigating the risk, you are minimizing the risk basically. Then potential to lower costs, in the sense as it is very near to the production factory, you are gaining loss of a lot of money, or you are saving a lot of money in transportation. Then retail outlet. So if I have multiple retail outlets, so the transportation cost would be less if I am having warehouses in multiple places near to the retail outlets. Then retailer or reseller inventory. So many a times it so happens that the products what you are giving to the resellers, they need to sell it first, then they'll be giving you money. So in that particular case, you need to go and check the stock, how much they have. Should I give it to them, or how much to collect, how much money to collect? So these are very important things. Then these things just explained. Then comes issues in multi-location. So you need to maintain stocks. You need to make sure like apt amount of stock is present in all the warehouses. That means we need to have more money to be spent to keep the inventory. Okay. Then management of communication. Yes, communication is very important. If you are not present there, if somebody says, okay, there are 10 products, so it might be 10 products, it might be more than that, or it might be less than that. If you go there and personally, if you don't check, or if you're not having any software solution to this, okay, then it will be a lot of issue. Then it can lead to bottlenecks. Bottlenecks I explained, like too many things come to one place, and after that these particular things have to be uh, waiting in line to get their turn. So this is what is bottlenecks. You can imagine like a bottle. Okay, so the base is larger and the mouth is smaller, so all the water that needs to come will rush at the initial stage, then it is stopped for certain period of time. So because of the mouth is smaller, the amount of liquid that comes out is in a smaller quantity than okay, in multiple locations to keep track. So that is one of the issue. Then what could be adopted? Okay, multi location inventory management softwares are there. What comes in, what goes out, you can just check in your mobile or in your system. It will tell you all the details, like how much is present in each warehouse, how much to do. And there is automation also which says if a particular product goes below a certain number, auto what do you call purchase order goes to the particular person stating that okay, I want this particular product. Okay, based on the lead time and all, everything it is calculated, and a particular number is assigned. If it reaches, if your inventory reaches a certain number, a particular purchase order is sent directly without what do you call your intervention. So if it is that important, so you can do that, or it can tell you that okay, it has come down, please purchase. Even that facility could also be given to you. Then locate warehouse artfully, in the sense put them properly in place. Okay, it should not be too far, too near. Okay, so we are doing that. Then plan for demand. So forecasting should be done the way we did in the decision tree, something like that. Good forecasting is required to plan for it. Then optimize warehouse layout. So I gave you example like some photos. Again we'll see that of a particular IKEA factory, okay, or a IKEA warehouse where in multi-layered they had kept. Okay, it is not like you should keep only on the floor. It could be kept one top of the other. Like you could have seen multi-leveled parking. Okay, that means one car on top of the other and the other car. Like it depends how many layers are there. So how much could be basically kept on top of the other. So we need to optimize the warehouse layout, then set safety stock. I told you that particular number if it comes down, I need to order. So that is whatever the number it comes. So when I'm ordering, that is the safety stock for me. So that is there till I get the new order. So that is safety stock. Then IKEA, I was just explaining IKEA home furnishing. It looks like this inside. Then these are the warehouses. See how many layers. This is the ground layer, first, two, three, and four. So almost it is touching the roof. So here one, two, three, four, five actually. So here it is empty, but here they have kept. Okay. So it is five layers. I'm excluding the ground. Okay, that is the first one. If you take that, then there are six layers totally. So if you keep like this, so you are not wasting the space in your warehouse. You can keep more amount of products in lesser space. So that is what they are doing. Okay. Then pricing and revenue management. What is pricing here? We are seeing how the price is having an impact and also on the revenue. So revenue in the sense that we are getting inwards. So the profits where we can call it as revenue. Then pricing. So how the prices will fluctuate. Okay, for the various products. So the segmentation, we have seen segmentation. So four different things. So one is the product, the value of the product varies in different market segments. Then the product is highly perishable. If you like, if the life of the product is very short or very small, we need to dispatch it or we need to sell it to the end customer so that it is not wasted for him also. He could be using it. So it should be very fast. So that is perishable product. Okay, or wastage occurs, so we should stop the wastage. Then demand as seasonal and other peaks. So if it is a seasonal product or if it is having multiple peaks, then the product is sold both in bulk and on spot market. So we took it as wholesale and retail. We could say it as wholesale and retail. So bulk is wholesale and spot price is retail. So in bulk we need to buy so that the price reduces. So if you are buying only in one or two quantity, then it is the spot market or the price will be the price of the spot market. Okay. Then we saw some examples like airline seats where if you book these seats like 2 to 3 months back, so the amount would be very less. The price that you are paying would be very less than if you are booking it in the last week or the 2 to 3 days before the flight takes off. That means the price would be very high. For the same seat, everything would be the same, but the prices will change based on the day you are basically uh, booking your ticket. So how far from how far your the date of journey you are booking. So the price will be going on lesser and lesser. So if it is like 3 months back, the price would be very less when compared to your booking 3 days back. Okay, so that is what is one of the example. Then Amazon, the same thing happens. Like peak, we are talking about peak. So at the time of Christmas, or in case of India it is at time of Diwali or any other festival for that matter, so the demand increases. So for only those particular days, these people cannot hire more or they cannot expand, okay, to their facility for only such small peaks. So what they do, they use some tactics like they give more of discounts just before the Diwali or the previous month. Okay. Then they could give you like free like no cash. Okay. For transportation, so free transportation could be given so that some people could buy whatever they wanted to buy in Diwali. Okay, they could buy now, and the number of orders could be minimized, or the slack period, what you call, whenever there is no much orders, they are basically attracting more orders from the time when they are having more orders. Okay, so one more example I gave you, like the movie theater. Okay, so it could be having different prices in the morning, the first show and the second show. So from the third show, from the afternoon till the night show, the amount is again varies. So similarly on the weekdays, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it could be lesser. So on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday it will increase as the weekend starts. So more people want to watch movie. So even if the prices are more, they're ready to buy. But those who want less price, So they have to go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So that is how they are managing the stock as well. Okay. So this is how this particular movie theaters also are uh, dragging customers. Okay, towards the non-peak time. Okay, then segmentation. We are talking about segmentation, how we are splitting the whole market into multiple segments. Okay, so based on the different segmentation, that is geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral. Okay, so just this is not there for your syllabus. Just I'm telling you to understand like how different divisions are made. Okay, then pricing revenue of different segments. I just explained all of those. So we'll just push through all these things. Okay, pricing and revenue management, perishable. Okay, so then dynamic pricing. So we just saw like for seasonal items. So at that particular season, so like raincoats at the time of rainy season, the prices will be very high. But if you see those things in summer, so nobody wants to wear a particular raincoat in summer, right? First of all, it will be sweating. So on top of that, who wants to wear a raincoat, right, in summer? So this was the example given in of our raincoats in dynamic pricing. Okay, overbooking is one of the thing. Like if you are having 100 seats, 105 seats are booked. Okay, so if somebody cancels it in between, so you are not in loss. But it may so happen that all the 105 may come or 102 may come. So which is two more than your size. Okay, whatever you have thought. So you need to have an alternative for them. So it could be more expensive than what you are getting. So we need to, there is a trade-off between you booking more. Okay, so if you have to spend more for the trade-off. Okay, then pricing and revenue management for seasonal demand. We have seen that. Then bulk and spot contracts. Okay, so this was module 4. So now coming to module 5. So what is module 5? So we are having supply chain integration. Okay. Then current trends. What are the current trends in supply chain integration? It was a very big. So there is one more line. I did not put it here. Okay. So just we'll see the syllabus. So current trends, supply chain integration, building partnership and trust in supply chain, value of information. Till here is your name of the topic. Okay, then it starts with bullwhip effect, then effective forecasting, coordinating the supply chain restructuring, supply chain mapping, supply chain process restructuring, then postpone the point of differentiation, IT in supply chain. So IT in the sense information technology, then agile supply chain. So we'll see what is agile and all. Then reverse supply chain, future of IT in supply chain, e-business in supply chain. So these are some of the things which we are looking at in module number 5. So we'll start. Okay, a small introduction will be given to you. Then if uh, time permits, we'll go with bullwhip effect and we'll stop for today. Okay. Then lack of supply chain coordination, we'll start with here. So supply chain coordination improves if all the stages of the chain takes action that together increase the total supply chain profits. So supply chain, so there are different links or different stages. So that's why if we say chain, there are different links in a chain. So each and every link should be proper or should be equally strong. Okay, if we say that okay, in a particular chain, the chain is as good as its weakest link. Okay, that means if the weakest link is there, so it holds good only as capacity of the weakest link. So if others are very very strong, not an issue. But if there is a weak link in between and suddenly load is put on it, it will break into two at that particular weakest link. That's why it is said that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So if there is a weakest link present, okay, so we need to check it has an effect on the overall supply chain. Okay, that is what we are saying here. So it has an effect on the overall profits of the supply chain. So why this happens? Okay, why we are having a weak link? So we'll just look at it. So supply chain coordination requires each stage of supply chain to take into account the impact of its actions. Okay, so each and every link, okay, what action they take has a lot of impact. Okay, then a lack of coordination occurs either because of different stages of supply chain having different objectives. Okay, that conflict or because information moving between stages is delayed. So in the supply chain, everything, okay, most of the times cannot be owned by one person, right? It cannot be like the distributor, the wholesaler, the retailer will not be, the owner will not be only one person. So if a person or a link is there, like for example, take a distributor or a wholesaler or a retailer, so everybody looks at his own profits, right? They will not be looking at the company's profit. So if you are the reseller, like example, if you are having a shop, you are looking at your own profits, how much profit I can gain. Then I will not be looking at the company that is producing this particular product that I am selling, right? I will be looking at my own profits. So that is what is the problem here. So if I will be working on my profits, the next link will be working on its own profits, right? So at this time there could be some misunderstanding or miscoordination that could happen, okay, so that it affects the entire supply chain. So that is what we are seeing into the bullwhip effect, what it is. Okay, a lack of coordination, we have seen this. Okay, so it could happen even if there is misinformation or a lag in the information that is passed on to the next link. Okay, so in the company they say some things should not be known by the next link, that is the distributor. Okay, or the uh, person who is like some important things would be there which should not be known by the next link. So something like that, if it was known, it could have created a whole new different scenario over there. Okay, but he feels at the later end that I should have told this particular thing to him in the next supply chain earlier. That means I could have stopped this thing to happen, or I could have mitigated or stopped this in the earlier stage only. Now it is out of my hand. Okay, next, different stages of supply chain may have conflicting objectives. If each stage has a different owner, just I gave you an example. As a result, each stage tries to maximize its own profits. It will not look at the entire supply chain. It will be looking at its own profits only. So resulting in actions that often diminish total supply chain profits. So if I am just looking for myself, so I might bring down the profits of the overall supply chain. How we will see in the later stages. Okay, so this is a bullwhip. So you can see on your screen, this is a bullwhip. So what is a bullwhip? You could have seen bullock carts. So people used to hit it, right? So this is a whip which is used to hit a bull. So this is a bullwhip actually. So you can see. So most of us have seen, many of us might be having this at their home also. Okay, this is a bullwhip. So why this particular effect is called as a bullwhip? You can see here what is happening. So if you, in a normal sense, if you see here also, so at the hand, like at the holder where you hold it, so if you see there is a big, what do you call it? A bigger curve than at the end here. See here, a very small curve. The same thing happens in this case also. So what is bullwhip effect? So here it is from the consumer side to the manufacturer side. It becomes bigger and bigger. So manufacturer is the person who is holding the whip, because from him the production, sorry, not the manufacturer, the supplier. Okay, because if the supplier is supplying the raw materials, then only the manufacturer can produce. If the manufacturer is producing, then only the wholesaler has the product. If the wholesaler has the product, then only he can push it to the retailer. So if the retailer is having the product, then he can sell it to the consumer. So what happens here in general, I'll give you an example. Like in this short one, like as a customer, if I think that okay, I might need more, okay, I might need more, and I buy on a higher rate. Okay, if I usually buy, like take example of soaps. If I want, generally I used to buy one soap in one purchase. So I feel that okay, I will not be able to come here. Like for example, in the pandemic time, so people don't want to go out, so instead of buying one, they buy 10. Okay, so I bought 10 now. So similarly, if there are 10 customers more, so instead of 10 products, now I sold 100 products here, 100 soaps I sold as a consumer. Like consumer, I bought 100 products. So what retailer says, yes, instead of 10, I have already sold 100. So what he says, in next time also the same thing might happen. So instead of he buying 100, he will buy now 150 or 200. or even 300. So he'll put an order. The retailer puts an order to the retailer stating that, okay, he was, if he was buying 100 soaps per month, now he's putting an order for 300 or 500 products or 500 quantity to the wholesaler. So similarly, if 10 retailers give him the order instead of 10, each wholesaler is giving him, sorry, each retailer is giving him, instead of order of 100, he is giving 1000 or 500. So his quantity of order will be more now. Okay, the order that is getting from the retailer is more now. Instead, if he was getting 500, he is getting now around 1500 or 2000 per month. So what he does, I may not be able to sell this, so he will put more order to the manufacturer, stating that instead of 500, he will be putting now 2000 or 3000. Okay. So suddenly what manufacturer feels now, if this continues for the next month, what I should do? I should produce more. Okay, I should produce more here. So what he'll do, he'll put an order of more in the supplier. So instead, if you was buying a raw material for 1000 or 5000, take example, like there are many wholesalers. So this wholesaler only put a order of 2000 now. So if there are another five such wholesalers, so 5 to the 10. So now the order for the manufacturer is 10,000 products. Okay, so 10,000 products, he will not only produce 10,000, he has to have some safety stock, right? So he will put a order for 15,000 for raw material. So the supplier has to supply now 15,000. So if the supplier is getting it from somewhere, just imagine the supplier has got an order of 10,000. Now he has to have some safety stock, right? So instead of 15,000, he will put an order for 16,000 or 18,000 products to his like supplier. Okay, so from where he is getting, so it goes on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is what is called as the bullwhip. Okay, so it starts small and at the end it goes on to a very large extent. So this is a bullwhip. Okay, from the consumer end, it started with only 10 products more. So now it has become 16,000 or 18,000. So just as an example, I'm giving you, it might be very bigger than this. So I've just taken 10 retailers. There could be hundreds or thousands of retailers. So wholesalers have taken only five. So just imagine how many wholesalers would be there for a product. So similarly, there would be only one purchaser and many suppliers. Okay, one manufacturer and many suppliers. So that manufacturer, if he goes on accumulating the orders, just imagine how many quantity, like how many times he should have produced more. Okay, for that to meet that particular demand. So he puts order again. So it goes on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so suddenly, if what happens, this is for only 1 month. So next month I'll not buy, right? I have bought already 10 now instead of one. So for the next 10 months, I'm not going to buy. Or next 5 months, I'm not going to buy if I'm using two soaps per month. Okay, just for an example, two soaps per month I'm using as a consumer. I have already bought stock for next 5 months. So I bought 10 number, right? So this has a lot of disruption. So suddenly the retailer will buy a lot of stock and keep it, and he'll start crying that okay, it is not moving now, because next 5 months he'll not be seeing that particular customer, right? Because he has already bought five times more than what he's using per month. So like that it happens. So this is one of the effects that happens in a supply chain. This is called as the bullwhip effect. So see here, what is bullwhip? The bullwhip effect, in which fluctuations in orders increases as they move up the supply chain. We just saw, as and when we are moving up the supply chain, the fluctuations will increase many folds. Okay, from retailers to wholesalers to manufacturers to suppliers. The bullwhip effects distorts the demand information within the supply chain. So within the supply chain, if one person feels the demand is increasing, it will go on increasing in the subsequent manner. Okay, up in the supply chain. So with each stage having a different eliminate of what demand looks like. Sorry, not eliminate, estimate. Having a different estimate of what demand looks like. So if I am a particular person, okay, a wholesaler, if my order is suddenly increased by 2 to 3 times, so what will I do? I will put more order to my manufacturer. So similarly, such many distributors are there. So if they do put more than whatever was their usual ones, like if it is just by 20% more, Just imagine if there are 10, it becomes 100% to the manufacturer. So he has to manufacture double the amount what he is manufacturing today. Okay, so we'll look at the examples, okay, in the next class. That is PNG is there, then HP is there. So what happened with them? So we'll be looking at this particular examples in the next class. Okay. Okay, students, we'll stop for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you. Bye. Take care.